Eastern Cape Premier Oscar Mabuyane has just given an update on search as well as mop-up efforts in his province following this week's devastating floods. My colleague Sipha Kema attended that briefing and joins us now. Sipha, very good evening to you. Now, a provincial day of mourning has been called for the 19th of June.
Absolutely, Katleho. Now that's the time, or the day rather, that has been given where the clergy, people from across the province, interfaith, will be coming to pray for Mthatha, to pray for those families that have lost their loved ones. As you would understand, I mean, that death toll keeps rising, keeps climbing. Really, the fatalities, looking at the 78 so far confirmed fatalities. So next week on the 19th of June, that's when a provincial day of mourning will be set aside. Now, apart from that, the most important updates also including to that day, we were given a way forward by COCTA MEC on the topical issue of land invasion and people building on flood lines, saying that there is a strategy in place and an engagement with various communities. They're going to start here in OR Tambo, where there currently is a crisis, in engaging with that community and finding a way forward in removing people, because some people, Katleho, are not just in informal settlements. These some are, even though it is in the rural areas, but they've got houses, brick and mortar houses that they've spent their last cents on. So it takes to engage those communities and persuade them to move and find common ground, and also finding land to be able to move them to. Now, talking about that land, we do have the OR Tambo District Mayor, Executive Mayor, Mr. Mesuli Ngqondwana. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Ngqondwana. I think the key question here would be going around speaking to people who've experienced floods in OR Tambo before. I mean, there's a section by Slovo where they were still living in temporary units following those floods from 2022. Now, how is the municipality, as the head of disaster management in the region, going to gain public trust, because people don't believe that there will be speedy efforts in recovering?
Thanks so much. Firstly, I will have to explain that we do not, as the district and on our own, disperse monies, but the local municipalities under our jurisdiction do. But for instance, in terms of the current financial year, we have it in terms of the reports that they have spent the monies adequately. And at the end of the financial year, all the expected expenditure will have been delivered. Where there's still backlog is where there's not been sufficient financing for the undertaking of such a backlog.
And working together now, together with the local municipality as well as COCTA, now finding a way forward, starting with, of course, with the local municipality assisting with the land where people will be moved, and having those conversations, engaging those communities. When are we expecting maybe that partnership to start?
It has to be start as in yesterday. In fact, as we were engaging with the MEC and the local municipality, by next week, we must set out dates for meeting with those people, but also primarily for meeting with the church, which is the owner of that particular land. But the process that has to go concurrent to that is that of determining which areas exactly are considered flood lines, so that even whilst we seek to formalize those areas where they currently stay, we also do not make a mistake of resettling them in places that are dangerous for their lives.
Just one last question, Mayor. Talking about those funds that you were mentioning, I mean, if we were to go back, I mean, to learn from the past, looking at the Aegis report from 2022-2023, looking at those funds that they said to Parliament were brought back, or rather written off as irregular expenditure, part of the disaster relief fund. Now, the municipality, as conducting oversight, how are you going to ensure that within this time around, that, you know, the funds do actually get dispersed to where they need to go and the areas that they need to go in due time?
Through our support function as the district, because we've got a responsibility to provide support to local municipalities, we do assist our local municipalities now with engineers, let me say, with the engineering capability, including planning capability, because sometimes we get problems because of delays in planning. And you realize that by the time implementation is starting, the financial year is already further advanced, so it makes municipalities to be unable to spend adequately.
All right, thank you so much, Mayor. That's Mayor Mesuli Ngqondwana giving us, of course, a way forward, gaining public trust with people that have been victims of floods yet again within this particular area. Although, Katlego, I mean, it has never been to this magnitude, and the governments, including provincial, national, local, district, they've all stepped in now together to find a way forward. But as far as classification of the disaster, we're yet to hear as the provincial government Executive Council will actually meet together to find a way forward so that they can give a declaration on whether or not it is a provincial or national disaster. Katlego.
Well, Sipha Kema, this certainly has raised the alarm on the spatial and town planning in many parts in the Eastern Cape, and we certainly do hope that going forward, a lot of these will be resolved with those town planners and ensuring that we don't see disasters of this magnitude going forward. That's Sipha Kema out in the Eastern Cape, bringing us the latest.